Trump's classified documents case in Florida has been postponed with no set date. Judge saying in her decision, quote, the court determines that finalization of a trial date at this juncture would be imprudent and inconsistent with the court's duty to fully and fairly consider the various pending pretrial motions before the court necessary to present this case to a jury. The court therefore vacates the current May 20th trial date.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got a packed show for you. Insane breaking news happening right now. The second we went live, Fani Willis got spanked so hard. Well, ladies and gentlemen, she may have to go back to boarding school. It's Wednesday, May 8th, 2024. Trump's classified documents trial postponed indefinitely. Stormy Daniels testifies in New York. Boom! Explodes the case. Everyone's in panic because Stormy Daniels just ended the case against Donald Trump in New York. And breaking news, the second we went live, the Court of Appeals in Georgia will be hearing the Fani Willis disqualification hearing. They aren't the ones who donated to Fani. Oh, no, no, no. And so, ladies and gentlemen, there may be some pain in the rear for Fani. Ooh, it's going to be an interesting show. My name is Benny Johnson, and this is The Benny Show. So, we got so much news happening so quickly. What keeps us connected? Patriot Mobile. You know Patriot Mobile. They power our show. They keep us online. We're always using them. Use Patriot Mobile to stay connected, and don't fund the left. These people hate your free speech rights. They hate our ability to communicate. They hate our ability to talk freely. Make sure that you are using... You don't have many choices, but you can choose your cell phone company, right? Like there are some it sucks that there are some brands that like you have to just use. I want a non-woke tennis shoe company. That's what I want. Not everybody can have golden Trump sneakers like producer ALX. Executive producer ALX got a pair of golden Trump sneakers. Some people aren't as lucky, okay? But you can choose your cell phone company. Use Patriot Mobile. PatriotMobile.com/Benny. Use PatriotMobile.com/Benny. 972-PATRIOT. Get free activation today with the offer code Benny. 972-PATRIOT. And I haven't seen ALX wearing those golden sneakers. ALX, you got them golden sneakers? ALX got a pair of Trump sneakers. ALX, you got them? But can you wear them? You have a photo of them? We'll find out, ladies and gentlemen. He hasn't gotten them yet. All right, okay. When ALX gets the golden sneakers, he'll come on, and we'll get a full shot up in Massachusetts when you see ALX flossing with golden sneakers. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we got breaking news this morning. Oh, and by the way, I'm so excited for the show. I'm so excited about the meme. I forgot to tell you that Christina Bobb, Donald Trump's attorney, is joining the program today, along with Will Chamberlain, who has been so sharp on these Trump legal issues as attorney himself. So again, we have a slam-packed show. But the breaking news as of this morning, here we go, baby. Georgia Appeals Court agrees to review the ruling allowing Fani Willis to stay on the Trump election case. Oh, it's beautiful. This is a huge ruling. This is a massive ruling. This means that Big Fanny's getting taken to Pound Town because this appeals court is a court that isn't somebody, the judge who made this initial ruling to say that half of Nathan's hot dog, the half of the Nathan's hot dog had to leave the case, right? He had to take his hot dog to another wiener roller. Like, yeah, in case you're wondering, I have so many Fanny puns. I've been waiting like weeks, months to like get all the Fanny puns out. And now it's just open season, okay? So Nathan's hot dog had to take his hot dog to a different weenie roller. The judge ordered it. He said, no, you can't do it. You've lied to the court. But that doesn't make any sense because how can you like kick off so you say that they're corrupt, but only half of them are corrupt? I don't get that. It's like pissing in the pool. Like, it doesn't just like stay in one. It's like you have to drain the whole pool. You have to drain it all. Yeah, piss in the pool. Yeah, somebody pees in the pool. You gotta empty the whole pool. All right, you rechlorinate everything. So you gotta get rid of Fani Willis too. You can't just get rid of one guy. Now here's the deal: the judge is a Fani Willis donor. All right, this guy's Judge McAfee. He's elected. And so this guy is obviously going to rule in behalf of his former boss. You know, he worked for Fani Willis back in the day. So he worked for Fani Willis. He donated to Fani Willis. He's elected position. Fani Willis says she's going to run somebody against him. And so he has all this political pressure. Guess who don't got the political pressure? Oh, baby. The appeals court. This appeals court is going to be is appointed by the state, by the governor. And these appeals court judges are not going to have the same, let's just say, confluence of factors that Judge McAfee had in this decision. Donald Trump's lawyer, Steve Sadow, is celebrating this. Steve Sadow, this is why you should get really excited about it. Steve Sadow says the Georgia Court of Appeals has granted President Trump's application for interlocutory appeal from the trial court's order refusing to disqualify Fani Willis, and he has 3 exclamation points. Steve Sadow, interesting dude. We've watched. He's an incredible lawyer. Let's just say he's not an excitable individual. Okay, we obviously have high energy on our show. He's not an excitable individual. He's very like Donald Trump selected him very wisely. He's like a freight train kind of lawyer, right? Just rolls along the track. If Steve Sadow is using 3 exclamation points, in this rule, you should be excited. Phil Holloway is a friend of the show. He's been on the show. He himself is a attorney, crime studier, analyst, and columnist from the state of Georgia. He's very, very smart on these things. Georgia Appeals Court will hear the Fani Willis disqualification appeal, and he includes the order there. Upon consideration of the application interlocutory appeal hereby granted, the appellant may file notice of appeal within 10 days of this order. The clerk of the Superior Court is directed to include a copy of this order transmitted to the Court of Appeals. Boom, shaka, laka, as they say in the highest courts in the land. So here we go, baby. Fani Willis not doing well. So Fani Willis, just some real quick Fani news that we have sort of glossed over because we haven't been getting a lot of news out of Fulton County recently. So number 1, Fani Willis almost fell down the stairs. As you can see here. Fani Willis needed 3 men to carry her down the stairs. And what the hell's going on? Why? It is amazing. It is such an interesting thing. Ronald Dahl said it best, right? In one of his storybooks. Like, evil people, like miserable people, wear their misery on the outside. If they're miserable, and if they're gremlin-like, and if they're horrible individuals, they all end up looking like Joe Biden. They all end up acting like Joe Biden. Joe Biden and Donald Trump, I'm going to get in trouble for this, but Joe Biden and Donald Trump, not that, they're like the same age. I think maybe Biden's like 5 years older than Trump, but like on a sliding scale, they're very similar in age, all right? They're similar. They could have potentially been in the same high school together. Joe Biden's older than Trump. But look at the way the men move. Look at the differences in the men. Clearly, one man has lived a good life, a life of vigor, and a life of value, and a life of energy, and a life of kindness, and a life of goodness, and has like buoyancy, and has energy, and can go play golf, championship golf. And then one man, there's a clip going around where maybe Joe Biden took a crap in the White House lawn. We don't know. Like, one man can barely make it down the stairs, just like Fani Willis there. Like, it's amazing what happens to evil. Like, when these people, they're evil, it like actually weighs on them. It breaks their bones. They begin to like crumble. It's fascinating seeing it. And you can see it. Maybe it's a curse from God. I don't know. I don't know. I don't like to sound off on those things, right? That belongs to God. But like, it happens all the time in the Old Testament, right? We have these corrupt, evil leaders and they get cursed, right? And they lose their minds. Joe Biden's lost his mind. He's lived a bad life and he's done bad things. And Fani Willis has done bad things. Fani Willis is clearly not of sound mind. Now, we can prove that to you, okay? We can prove that to you. Fani Willis went on the stand, and we're really looking forward to this. Because Fani Willis on the stand was like the best thing to ever happen. We were live for like, I don't know, ALX. We clocked it in one day. We were live for like 70 hours straight one week with Fani Willis trials. Because Fani Willis, it was so entertaining to watch her do this. So here's what she did. Fani Willis took all his paper, and she had all these like crazy notes. She had notes like you ever seen the bum, the bum at the bus station? And he has like a plastic bag full of newspapers. Like, Fani Willis decided to bring that bag up on stage with her, and she started waving them around. She started waving her papers around and throwing them, right? Like, she's crazy. Lady, you crazy. Okay? She started throwing her papers. This is what the smartest, brightest legal mind in the country did to defend herself. Watch.
And where, when Did he come to, I guess, the condo? I'm not sure what you called it, condo apartment. Would he come and stay at that condo or visit you there? I'm sorry, visit you there.
What condo, what apartment? I want to be clear.
So not your house. I know you classified one as house and one as condo. So I'm trying to use those terms.
So there's been more. See, what you don't understand is because of this case, I got to move. And so I need
If you could ask a more precise question.
Yes, please give me the time period.
Mr. Wade visits you at the place you laid your head.
When?
Has he ever visited you at the place you laid your head?
So let's be clear, because you lied in this. Let me tell you which one you lied in. Right here. I think you lied right here. No. This is the truth,
Judge.
And it is a lie. It is a lie.
Ms. Will? Mr. Stano, thank you. We're going to take 5 minutes. Be back in 5.
Fannie Will, dumpy, frumpy Fannie Willis sitting there with her dress on backwards, with her American flag pinned sideways and upside down, looking like a hot mess, and throwing her papers, screaming. We don't have all the time. Listen, it'd be fun to do a full Fannie Willis show. We're ready for it, but we got way more news to get to. But I gotta let's just do a quick countdown, okay? Quick countdown. We're not gonna play all the clips. We have all the clips to prove it. We have all the clips to prove it. All right. The greatest thing that ever happened in this case was Fannie Willis taking the stand, and everybody getting to actually see what a tire fire that lady is. Okay. But here we go. Fannie Willis admitted to campaign fraud. Fannie Willis admitted to lying before the court about when her relationship started. Fannie Willis admitted that she's absolutely already made her decision in this prosecution about Donald Trump, screamed and yelled and hollered, "You're the ones who stole the election," right? Like that she's just low IQ. Okay. Fannie Willis admitted to lying about when she visited the White House. There's another lie before the court. And then Fannie Willis, just in her own personhood, was just such a mess. She's not, and we'll get to this with Stormy Daniels, she's not a credible witness. It's not credible. It's just somebody that, you don't believe her. You're lying to me. Why is she, let's do more evidence that she's a mess. Here's an article from the Daily Mail. Fannie Willis's wardrobe malfunction while speaking at a Black Leaders event in Miami. Same time there was a debate. There's a Democrat running against her. There's Republicans running against her. Everyone's trying to take her job because she's such a disaster here, and she may get disqualified for her marquee case. Fannie Willis has a wardrobe disaster. Let's just say it's inappropriate. Okay, it's inappropriate. Let's just say not a lady. Okay, not very ladylike. Okay, on stage. Pretty gross. So more wardrobe malfunctions. Fannie Willis can't even walk down the stairs without help. She's collapsing. Her case is collapsing. This is what happens to evil people. It's biblical. It's the Old Testament kind of stuff. It's really fun. It's really exciting to see. It's all collapsing. And it's all falling down. If only, there's the last thing we'll say here. If only somebody could save her. If only she decided to choose as her lead prosecutor a man whose face can be found on many piss-stained park benches and bus stops around Fulton County. If only she chose a man whose top legal achievement was getting somebody some money back for stolen speakers and also doing some name changes in the court. If only she chose one of the highest legal scholars ever to be on her team, a man named Nathan's Hot Dog. If only Fannie Willis had chosen such a smart man who could answer the single question. And this is really when the case fell apart. Nathan Wade getting asked the toughest question that you can ask in a court of law. You almost feel bad for the guy. Did you ever go to a cabin? Here we go.
Did you go to a cabin with Miss Willis ever?
Ever?
Ever.
All this time we've been together, thought a thing would last forever. Through thick and thin, good or bad, all love was happy, never sad. Now it's all gone sour, getting worse by the hour. Let's break up now.
No.
You've never gone to a cabin with Miss Willis?
No.
I said you're dancing. It's such a funny song. Oh, come on, man. No, don't you want him back on TV? I want him back on TV. I want him back on TV. We're ready. We're ready on the program. We'll do it again. We'll do it again. We'll be live. ALX telling me, yeah, you're right. We were live for about 70 hours. He said it was over the course. He said it was over the course of about 2 weeks. We were live for 70 hours covering Fannie. It was, we were on for a long time. It was fun. It's great. We'll do it again. We're ready for it. Bring it on. Alex, do we have any date on when the hearings will be? Let's see if we can find that and start to set our calendars. We really look forward to the disqualification hearing of Fannie Willis. A lot of people, the good people, are all saying, ooh, it's going to be smashing. And speaking of smashing, let's move on past the Florida-Georgia line down to Florida here. Trump's classified documents trial nuked from space. Like the lady had a cannon. Her name is Judge Eileen Cannon. If you were watching the show yesterday, you heard the great Julie Kelly say that Eileen Cannon was going to issue something blistering later in the day. You were prepared for this, but not even we were prepared for what Judge Eileen Cannon did. Judge Eileen Cannon says that the documents case against Donald Trump will be postponed indefinitely. Indefinitely. Oh, baby. Trump classified document postponed indefinitely. Judge ruling has a huge implications. Ex-president avoids trial before the election. I don't think this thing will ever go to trial. That's my takeaway. After doing a ton of reading, after looking through all this and seeing what all legal experts have to say, they have created such an absolute garbage fire here, a dumpster fire here, that I don't think it'll ever go to trial. Judge Cannon has delayed Donald Trump's trial date indefinitely, citing ongoing issues with the case. The Trump-appointed district judge Eileen Cannon ruled that the trial would be postponed indefinitely in order to resolve significant pretrial issues. Cannon wrote that the scheduling a date for the case would be imprudent and inconsistent with the court's duty and fully and fairly consider the various pending pretrial motions before the court. Oh man, this is so spicy. The reason why it's so spicy is that the judge is allowing, effectively, the continuation of some major criticism and scope criticism of Jack Smith. So she's allowing, Alex, can I get the Julie Kelly tweet on? Can I get the Julie Kelly tweet on this? She's allowing, effectively, a trial of Jack Smith to carry on, to carry forward. So she set trial dates for, is Jack Smith a legitimate prosecutor? Did the government tamper with or plant evidence on Donald Trump? Oh, baby, this is smoking. Really exciting times. There is a lot of people that we know really, really excited about this. Again, much like Fulton County, all the right people are excited about this. Here is the breaking news.
This case was supposed to go to trial in Fort Pierce, Florida on May 20th. That is no longer happening. That date has been pushed back. And while there is not a new trial date set, Judge Eileen Cannon has set some deadlines, many deadlines, at least a dozen, going on late into the summer, pushing the trial back at least until the end of July. In an order just late this afternoon, about an hour or so ago, Judge Cannon announced she's extending several key deadlines in this case that take it out, as I said, till the end of July. This is the case involving the classified documents found at Mar-a-Lago. Special counsel Jack Smith hoped this and the other trial involving the former president here in Washington, D.C., over alleged attempts to overturn the 2020 election results would go to trial before Election Day in November. The Supreme Court, Brett, is currently weighing whether Trump should be immune from federal prosecution in that election interference case in D.C., meaning that case has been on hold for several months. The justices are expected to decide by the end of June. The former president is hoping to avoid both trials before the November election, and he may get his wish. If Judge Cannon continues to extend deadlines in the Florida trial and does not set a date, that could push things back post-election. If the Supreme Court gives sort of a mixed ruling or a ruling favorable to Donald Trump, that could push things back here in Washington, D.C. The bottom line, another day, another delay means just we're getting that much closer to the election.
Okay, baby, here we go. This is what Julie Kelly, she's so good. She's on the program yesterday for like nearly an hour explaining what's happening here. This is what she has to say. This is too good. Oh, damn. This is too good. Cannon set hearing on key motions, including selective prosecution, unlawful appointment of special counsel. Jack Smith really hoped to avoid a hearing on the scope of the prosecution, including the Biden White House. She's putting the Biden White House on trial. That's called an Uno reverse. You ever seen it? Uno reverse. Bam. I should get an Uno reverse card for the show. We should get a stinger, actually, that has Uno reverse card on the show. We'll get that. We'll get that in production. So, Uno reverse, somebody who's very excited to talk about numero uno, dos, tres, and the cuatro is Donald Trump's attorney, Alina Habba. Again, Donald Trump's attorney, Christina Bobb, will be joining the show in just a bit. But Donald Trump's attorney, Alina Habba, saying, hold on, case needs to be dismissed right now.
The fact that we have White House logs that DAs and AGs are all coordinating and on the South Lawn with President Biden also speaks volumes. And we're going to hit each and every one of these cases like we have. As you saw with the boxes hoax today, this is disgusting. Jack Smith changing covers, sloppy with evidence that he's now trying to blame President Trump when it was his hands in the cookie jar. Let's be clear on what is happening. Their plan is falling apart. It's going in their face. And frankly, all of these cases should be dismissed.
All of them should be dismissed. Why? She said that they were sloppy with how they handled the documents. Kash Patel was on our show on Monday saying, hold up, here's what they did. Not only did they plant evidence, presumably inside of Mar-a-Lago, because the government had all these boxes, GSA, and they shove them into Donald Trump's keep. But then also, Jack Smith rearranged all the paperwork. Then also, we have the reporting that Jack Smith brought all the classified document cover sheets and planted them. So they're planting evidence on Donald Trump. They're tampering with evidence. They're rearranging evidence. It's a crime syndicate. What is enlightenment? If you watch the program, you know. Enlightenment is understanding that your government is just an organized crime syndicate. There's a goon squad. They're no different than the mafia. And these are mafia tactics. Kash Patel explains. Here we go.
Jack Smith has just been exposed by Judge Cannon of doing what? Lying to a federal court. These guys keep doing it. The judge just unsealed documents in the Jack Smith case down in Florida, which says the prosecutors themselves have admitted to tampering with evidence, to moving the very boxes from one location outside of D.C. to South Florida before they ever even charged Donald Trump. How in the world can you not be prosecuting and charging these constitutional gangsters that are at DOJ? And they learn it from the same place, the top down, the same AGs, the same DAGs, the same FBI directors who are cheering them on. I hope Judge Cannon, he's an actual fun legal thing that should actually be occurring. Judge Cannon should be implementing actual contempt proceedings against Jack Smith and the Department of Justice for lying to a federal judge and withholding evidence of exclusion and innocence from Donald Trump. Those contempt proceedings would be righteous, and I'd like to see those. Maybe we could put Jack Smith in prison.
Boom. Maybe we can put Jack Smith in prison. Says Kash Patel, who many say will be in the Department of Justice and Donald Trump 2.0. I mean, he's the guy who was federal prosecutor in charge, like working at the DNI, working at the Department of Defense, saying this is worth a full-scale investigation into Jack Smith. Jack Smith is the one behaving criminally here. Uno reverse. Uno reverse. Look at that. Julie Kelly on our program yesterday, effectively telling us the future. We love it when this happens. We try not to brag, but it is a good reason to watch the show. It's a great reason to watch the show. It is always my honor to bring on guests who are going to tell you what's about to happen. And we have a really good record of that on the program. Here's Julie Kelly yesterday telling you what was about to happen. And lo and behold, 5 o'clock, clock strikes 5, and we are off to the races. Julie Kelly saying Judge Eileen Cannon is pissed. Go.
They brought these cover sheets to the Mar-a-Lago raid for the sole purpose, they say, as placeholders for the classified files that they found, but for the sole purpose also of creating that stunt photo of the crime scene to make it appear that that is how the documents were found in those boxes. That simply is just one more lie, misrepresentation, not just to the public, but to Judge Cannon as well. So we should have some more interesting developments this week. Last night, Judge Cannon put a hold on a very important hearing related to what classified material the defense was going to present at trial. She has put a hold on that deadline, and I suspect that she is right now preparing a blistering order about this case to Jack Smith, the recent revelations about mishandling evidence, and continuing to put this case towards trial, despite what we now know, prosecutorial abuse, tampering and doctoring evidence, and withholding it, all of this information from the defense.
All right, baby. Man, do we have a meme for you about all of this? And there's only one person, actually, from only one organization that has been fighting for these results and has been messaging, the only lawyers with balls out here. I can say it, right? Because he's not on camera just yet. But the only lawyers with balls out here that can actually fight and have been fighting for these cases and against this style of prosecution has been the Article 3 Project. Will Chamberlain, senior counsel at the Article 3 Project, joins us now. Will, I'm not going to say that you have balls while you're on, camera here. I'm just saying that the Article 3 Project is a incredible organization, and you guys are seeing some incredible results here. These are not great days for Jack Smith.
No, this is a very bad day for Jack Smith, and I mean it's a bad day also for the entire lawfare effort against the president. Right? We have the news that came out this morning that the Georgia Court of Appeal is going to hear the question of whether Fani Willis should be disqualified. And I predicted that the district court's ruling had this basic flaw, which is they said that there's this obvious appearance of impropriety, but yet you can cure the appearance of impropriety by getting rid of only Nathan Wade and not Fani Willis too. That was just never going to work, wasn't going to stand up to scrutiny. And so I expect that now that the Georgia Court of Appeal has agreed to hear the case, it didn't have to. It could have just sent it back to the lower court. Fani Willis is about to get kicked off that case, and who knows if it'll ever go to trial, frankly. So
you predict the Fani Willis off?
Yeah, I mean, the basic reason is I think if there's an appearance of impropriety, I don't think Georgia wants to have a rule that prosecutors can stay on a case with an appearance of impropriety, that they should be kicked off. And then the reason that I think I don't think it'll ever go to trial is because it's such a mess of a case. Like it's this massive, complicated RICO case with 20 defendants, all of whom have the resources to hire lawyers. What district attorney's office wants to be bogged down by that? The only reason you do it is for, kind of political stardom and ambition. But if another district attorney's office has to take the case, I think they'll look at it and be like, this is stupid. We don't want it. We don't have the time.
So you're senior legal counsel at the Article 3 Project. I was watching some of the commentary from some legal analysts that I really like yesterday with this whole delayed indefinitely thing with the Trump documents case. And many were saying, like, this thing has also such a tire fire that there's no way this case will see the inside of a courtroom. They don't think that the government will actually push forward with it. Jack Smith has yet to identify like what the crime was, which is kind of insane. I mean,
there's a slew of problems because, you have this whole classified evidence discovery problem, which is normally you just send back documents back and forth, but because the documents in question are classified, there's been this massive litigation dispute about like, okay, how did the defense attorneys get to review it? Under what circumstances? How do they get proper access? And so that's one problem. Then you have this new spoliation problem where apparently they staged the photo with all the classified, like the cover sheets. And then second, the fact that they didn't record exactly where the documents were, they didn't do a good job preserving the evidence. All that bears on President Trump's intent. So like, depending on the condition of the documents, where they were found, it goes to the state of mind necessary to actually prove a crime under the classified documents issues. And that doesn't even get to the fundamental issue of he's a former president. He has the right. He had the right to see all these documents. He had the right to declassify them unilaterally if he so chose.
Yeah. So the story that was told is that Donald Trump grabbed the nuclear secrets, shoved them down the front of his pants, and sort of flopped the red tie over it and wobbled out of the White House with those documents. That is totally untrue. And now the emails are showing that the GSA had pallets of Trump documents, and then they forced them into Mar-a-Lago. Effectively, the FBI said, you got to take all these. And they shipped them down to Mar-a-Lago. Jack Smith doesn't know which document was in what box. How the hell are they ever going to prove that the government didn't plant classified documents at Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago. How can you prove that?
I don't think you can, and I think that's why any sound prosecutor at this point would dismiss the case. I mean, they just don't. They don't have the ability to prove this case beyond a reasonable doubt. If they didn't, I don't think they did before, and they certainly don't now. And it's really remarkable when you compare it with, Joe Biden and the classified documents that were found in his garage. I mean, and the big difference there is he had no authority to declassify. He had no authority to take those documents out of his SCIF. He saw those when he was a senator, some of them, and when he was vice president. He doesn't, classification authority flows from the president. And he's only getting off because obviously Robert Hur, the special counsel, found him to be a feeble old man.
Could you explain to me, what is it that Judge Eileen Cannon is going to hear when she has a hearing with this? She did schedule some hearings. One hearing was on the legality of Jack Smith as a special counsel. Now, that's very interesting. Ed Meese, obviously legend in the legal profession, attorney general under Reagan, works at the Heritage Foundation. Ed Meese is like, Jack Smith isn't legal and shouldn't have these rights. And that got me to sort of stop and listen. What's the argument there?
Well, the argument is that, every U.S. attorney in the country, and that's, anybody heading a local U.S. attorney's office. So somebody in, for example, the Southern District of Florida, that person is appointed, nominated by the president, and confirmed by the Senate. And that's what gives them the authority to exercise the power of the federal government. Line prosecutors obviously are not appointed, right? You're just assistant district attorneys, but their authority flows from their boss, who is confirmed by the Senate. Jack Smith runs his own office, and he should be, under law, a Senate confirmed attorney, a Senate confirmed U.S. attorney, but he's not, right? He's a private citizen. He was a private citizen when Merrick Garland tapped him. He never faced Senate confirmation. And as a result, the entire prosecution, therefore, just doesn't have a legitimate basis to flow from, especially because he's a special counsel. He's barely reporting to Merrick Garland, much less so than normal standard U.S. attorneys. So basically, they managed to circumvent the entire process of Senate confirmation. And as a result, we have this bizarre circumstance where, the attorney general just has his personal appointee doing all this work.
And you're from the DMV area. I know that perhaps you're familiar with McDonnell versus the United States, the Jack Smith's famous case where he was overruled 9-0 inside of a liberal Supreme Court for doing a very similar hatchet job on Bob McDonnell, who was a very popular governor of Virginia, might have run for president against Barack Obama. And shockingly, as we looked through this case, we're not legal scholars, but we can read the ruling. They said that Jack Smith didn't prove intent. It's the same thing. It's the same case. He didn't prove intent and wasn't able to prove that the governor's acts didn't fall within his official duties. And the Supreme Court just smashes the guy over the exact same case, although he was able to destroy his career, which seemed to be the actual goal.
Yeah, and it's not Democrats have been doing lawfare against Republicans like this to have political consequences for decades. You can go all the way back to Ted Stevens and Obamacare. So think about this. Ted Stevens was a senator from Alaska. Under Obama, they went after him hard. This was when there was like a 51-49 majority in the Senate or something. They went after Ted Stevens hard. They indicted him for a similar bribery idea. And in this case, it wasn't the Supreme Court that slapped him down. It was actually post-conviction in the district court. Evidence was revealed that some of the FBI agents and the attorneys were lying to the court and weren't fully weren't in the spirit of candor, weren't actually revealing everything that they knew. And Judge Emmett Sullivan, who later obviously was not great in Michael Flynn, but Judge Emmett Sullivan actually overturned the conviction. And I think some of the lawyers in that case got disbarred, and there actually might have been some prosecutions of the government agents involved. But you know what? It didn't matter because Ted Stevens lost his election, and that gave Obama the supermajority he needed, I think, to get Obamacare through.
Incredible. They play on a different level. It's so evil. It's so banal, and it's so important to have people that are willing to fight. Mm-hmm. And it's so important to have the Article 3 project because you guys are the only one. I've been friends with Mike for a long time. You guys are the only ones who actually thrown people in lockers around here and are actually fighting against this. And we're deeply appreciative for it. Odds on of Jack Smith being able to remain special counsel if this actually gets a hearing?
It's not better than 50-50, honestly. I don't think. I think that, it's a novel issue, so I'm reluctant to just go ahead and prognosticate on how the Supreme Court's going to rule. But I mean, I read Ed Meese's brief. I thought it was persuasive. I think it's the right argument, and it's sloppy of Merrick Garland. Like in the past, when Trump appointed special counsels, for example, the way you get around this problem is you take somebody who's already a U.S. attorney somewhere, who's already gone through the confirmation process, and then you put them on the special counsel investigation as the leader. So that's how you get around, you solve the problem of whoever's running the special counsel office needs to be a Senate confirmed person. They just didn't do that here. He just literally found like this super hyper aggressive prosecutor that was hanging out at The Hague prosecuting European war criminals and just yoinked him over here and said, okay, you're prosecuting the president now. It's not how it works.
Does seem like a big yoink. The whole thing. That's a perfect adjective. There's a big giant yoink job. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't want to be yoinked around, you got to follow Will Chamberlain. Make sure that you follow Will and the Article 3 Project. He is at Will Chamberlain on X. And thank you so much for being on the show, Will.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Ben.
Oh, baby. Okay, so we got to move on. We're moving so quickly. Donald Trump's lawyer, Christina Bobb, will be joining us in just a moment. So let's move very quickly to Stormy Daniels in New York. Apparently, Stormy Daniels absolutely destroyed the case against Donald Trump in New York yesterday. Here are the headlines. Stormy Daniels' testimony so lurid that it almost derailed Trump trial. How porn stars' lively claims about spanking and condoms and STDs sparked a slew of objections before the judge called her difficult to control. Whoa. This is wild. Okay, so get a load of this. Here's what CNN had to say. You know how bad it is. Here's what CNN had to say about this the dumpster fire, the absolute lot lizard dumpster fire of Stormy Daniels' testimony yesterday.
The cross-exam, boy, her responses were disastrous. I mean, do you hate Donald Trump? Yes, of course she does. That's a big deal. When the witness hates the person whose liberty is at stake, that's a big damn deal. And she's putting out tweets, fantasizing about him being in jail. That really undermines the credibility. The fact that she owes him $500,000. She, by order of a court, owes Donald Trump $500,000 and said, I will never pay him. I will defy a court order. The defense is going to say she's willing to defy a court order. Why? She's not willing to respect an order of a judge. Why is she going to respect this oath she took? So I thought it went quite poorly on cross-exam. At the end of direct, I thought, okay, they got what they needed. But I think the cross is making real inroads.
Dude, how bad does it have to be when CNN's like, you just destroyed your case? How bad is that? I mean, it's really bad. Dude, let's move on over to MSNBC. MSNBC was like straight up panicking on air, saying like the judge was pissed off at Stormy Daniels in the courthouse. I really wish there were cameras in that courthouse. Let's go.
Basic feeling is like, wow, this is a colorful, maybe hyper colorful witness.
But how much more is the jury also watching Donald Trump and maybe his reaction to some of those very, just let's say, details of that sexual encounter?
Right. So I looked for that pretty carefully. It was mainly on Stormy. They were taking her in. I was looking at Trump some, and he had a general kind of impassiveness, not glowering exactly, but obviously not happy. But the basic dynamic was jury to Stormy, and then again, I haven't seen Merchan in this trial be so sort of irritated, and it came across, I think, as being irritated with her level of detail. That's something, if you're the DA, you're worried about, because you don't want them to think that he, the judge, is actually displeased in any way with the witness.
Wait, so the judge is pissed off at Stormy Daniels? This is how MSNBC, that guy was in the courtroom. And he's like, what the hell's going on here? It's getting bad. So there was a federal judge who went on CNN. So there's a federal judge, goes on CNN and says, this just destroyed the case. Get a load of this. Watch.
The material that came in was not relevant to this criminal case at all. And I think it shows that she was trying to get Trump. I actually thought there was a motive there. She said she hates him. She said she'd like to see him in prison. I think she was purposely throwing out this stuff to make sure the jurors were prejudiced, particularly the women jurors, but probably half of the men too, were really put off.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we have a massive problem on our hands here. It's not a problem. It's really exciting. There's total collapse. It's all collapsing. Everything, New York, Georgia, Florida, it's all being destroyed. Like every one of these cases is being destroyed. It's all collapsing in real time. You can call it providential. You can call it an act of God. Call it whatever you want. Alina Habba, I was really looking forward to this clip. Alina Habba destroying Stormy Daniels, the lady that signed a document saying that this affair never happened. The lady who owes Donald Trump $600,000. Alina Habba taking no prisoners.
That the prosecution, whose case, frankly, in my opinion, has been destroyed, is completely discredited. And now they are saying, as of yesterday, that they want another 2 weeks. And that, to me, says it all, Sean. And the American people need to remember one thing. This case is not about defamation. It is not about a woman. It is about a record-keeping category that was frankly correct, made in Trump Tower by the Trump Organization, somebody in accounting who did nothing wrong, who's never spoken to President Trump, while President Trump was doing what? In the Oval Office, running the country. And that is what DA Alvin Bragg is trying to now put a former president on trial for. It's not about the felony counts. It's not about what we heard today. That is a distraction. It is about one thing, Sean, you know it and I know it, and that is to keep Donald Trump out of the campaign trail, because Biden can't beat him. Period. The end. His poll numbers are amazing, and he's not even campaigning. So this is what they have to do, and then put an unconstitutional gag order so that on the days that he can campaign, he can't speak. He can't defend himself. What I have seen is absolute demise of American judicial system. You said it perfectly in your monologue, Sean. I can't believe what I've seen for the last 2 days in that courtroom. And now you've got a judge who will not grant a mistrial when they violated parameters that he gave. They did not care. They went ahead and put salacious information that was frankly false. We know that from words that were said prior to this trial. And now we're sitting here scratching our heads wondering where taxpayer dollars are going.
That's such a great point there at the very end there. They're making us pay for this. They're abusing these offices, making us pay for this. I am more in agreement, ladies and gentlemen, by the day, with Mike Davis' scorched earth policy of you should find Trump plus 50 districts here in Florida, judges who donated to Donald Trump, prosecutors who worked for Donald Trump, right? Come right over from Donald Trump's DOJ, and you should go try Biden. Do it. I mean, at what point? Like, listen, the prosecutor, Michael Colangelo, worked for Biden's DOJ, took money from the DNC. So let's get RNC prosecutors in to go try Biden in Trump plus 50 districts with Trump judges, wearing MAGA hats. Okay? It's the exact same thing. It is the exact same setup. It's such a fraud on the American people. And there are people who are now finally seeing the truth. Somebody who's been speaking the truth for a very long time, somebody who's worked with Alina Habba, somebody who's worked with Trump, somebody who's been like at Trump's side, and we are so honored to have on the program, is the senior counsel to the RNC, Christina Bobb, joins the show live now. Christina, it's such an honor to have you on the program. Thank you so much for joining us. I don't think you were in the courtroom in New York, but no, it didn't look good. Didn't look very pretty from what we saw.
No, this is what happens when you bring bad cases with bad charges with bad facts. It has a hard time standing up under its own weight. And I think that's what we're seeing happen pretty much across the board.
There isn't any good news if you are Joe Biden over the last 24 to 48 hours. In fact, there is a lot of reason to be like reaching for the bottle of Xanax, right? Okay, and another like pack of adult diapers, right?
Yeah, I think, they have overplayed their hand. Every time they overplay their hand, we go, oh my gosh, they're overplaying their hand. And then they double down and double down and double down. And they're getting to the point where they can't stand up under the weight of their own corruption, under the weight of their own lies, under the weight of their own deceit, under the weight of their own fraud, all of this propaganda that they're trying to perpetuate among the American people through the court system. I mean, it's just falling apart.
So this is really interesting because you've been by Donald Trump's side for a very, very long time. And maybe you could give us, I mean, it's been years, right? Like maybe you can give us some insight into how the man is aging in reverse, how the guy seems to be handling all of this so well. I mean, did he know that the documents case was going to be delayed indefinitely? Did he know the appeals court was going to pick up the Fani Willis stuff? It's remarkable.
It's really remarkable. And I don't know what to chalk it up to other than what you said earlier. Is it divine providence? That's the only thing I can think of, because I genuinely believe I have spent a fair amount of time with President Trump. I've worked with him and I've gone through really difficult times with him as well. And I can tell you, I do not believe that he has the ability to cave. He doesn't have the ability to give in, to make his life easier, to make it all go away, just to get them to stop. He's just not built that way. So when they put this plan into place to go after Donald Trump, saying, oh, we'll get him to break, we'll get him to bow out, we'll get him to, go away quietly so that we can still keep control of the United States government, they picked the wrong person, because he's not going down. And it's what they're doing is going to end up taking down their entire criminal structure that they've put together to try to criminalize political opposition.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It really does seem like there's a big Uno reverse moment happening right now. We haven't built the graphics package yet for the show, but we're going to build the Uno. We're going to build the Uno reverse because everything seems to be flipping. Okay, so let's zero in on just 2 or 3 quick things from breaking news, and then I'd like to talk about the RNC in a second.
Yeah.
So breaking news at time of show, at time of going live today, Fani Willis appeals court is going to hear the Fani Willis disqualification case. We likened it to pissing in a pool. It's the best we could come up with. You got to drain the whole pool. Okay. Yeah. You can't just get rid of half the water. You got to drain the whole pool. Sorry for this sort of crude allegory there, but perhaps you could illuminate for us, like, what are your thoughts on that case? What do you think? I mean, what do you think are the chances Fani Willis is going to continue on?
I actually think it's the perfect analogy, and I've used it myself. When you pee in the pool, you can't separate it anymore. The damage is done, and you have to drain the whole pool. And with Fani Willis, the thing that struck me as odd as an attorney, when 2 attorneys are conflicted, that means both attorneys are conflicted. It's not like, oh, well, one gets to keep the conflict and the other one has to go away, which is what the trial court had ruled. No, if you're conflicted, you're conflicted. Neither of you should be able to stay. So I hope that the appeals court takes a real serious look at this and says, we probably should follow the law once in a while, because that's the way every other attorney conflict works. Is if both attorneys if they have a conflict with each other and they started the case together and they did the case together, meaning they put together the grand jury, right, and they got the indictment together, they're both conflicted out. You can't just keep one and make the other one go away. This isn't high school prom. This is. They both have to leave the case. So I don't know what the appeals court's going to do, but that's what they should do.
I'm arguing against our own programming here because I'd love nothing more than to see Fani Willis with her dress on backwards, with her upside down American flag pin, throwing papers, right, lying under oath. I've never been to the White House. Well, the Secret Service says otherwise. How stupid are you? Like it'd be great for daytime television. Doesn't seem like the brightest bulb in the box. Seems like she's got some other major problems going on with firing whistleblowers. It's a bit of a tire fire down there in Fulton County.
Well, if you think about it, those are the kind of people that the crazy globalists need to bring cases like this, because smart, hardworking attorneys who care about their bar license and who care about their ethical obligations don't bring cases like this. And so you have to find someone willing to do it. And the problem that they have is the people willing to do it are people like Fani Willis, who bring a plethora of their own problems. So I don't think they're going to have a clean case in any of these cases. I think they're all going to be quite difficult because of the caliber of the case being brought. It's quite low.
So Ed Meese at the Heritage Foundation, obviously a legend in the legal space and one of the smartest, most thoughtful legal scholars there is, issued to the Supreme Court a brief saying Jack Smith's illegal, right? and then we saw yesterday Judge Cannon say, I'm going to hear that. I'm going to hear that case as to whether Jack Smith has the lawful authority to be the special counsel. Now, that's super interesting to me, along with the delay of the indefinite delay of the trial. Do you think that Jack Smith has legal authority as special counsel?
Well, I don't think he does. I don't think he is a correctly appointed and confirmed special counsel. And he's certainly not from outside of the government. He doesn't meet the actual definition of being outside the government. He's from the Department of Justice. So I think it's a very good motion. And I read that motion a while ago. And at the time that I read it, I thought it had a lot of merit to it. So I'll be real curious to see what Judge Cannon says about it. But we have to start holding the line on the law. This is what happens when we have attorneys and judges go, well, it's not really legal, but okay, okay, fine. We don't want to fight you on it. Okay, fine. And everyone says, okay, fine, okay, fine. Well, suddenly you have cases like Fannie Willis in Georgia, or, the Jack Smith case, where people go, I don't think anything about this is legal. How did we get here? And we get here because, quite honestly, conservative attorneys haven't been fighting, and they haven't been pushing back, and they haven't been saying, no, we are going to stand on the letter of the law. We are going to make sure the law is enforced, and we're going to enforce it exactly as it's written. And we haven't really been doing a good job of that in this country for a while. And now, thankfully, we're starting to see kind of a resurgence of conservatives saying, no, we're actually going to make sure the law is followed. And I really hope that the judges follow suit.
Again, you've worked with Donald Trump for a long time. I have no idea how long you've been an attorney, but you've risen up in the ranks really high. You must be great at your job. I, as somebody who went to community college, I'm no lawyer, but even I know that if you go to a crime scene and you're a member of law enforcement and you decide to doctor the crime scene in a way that looks worse for the accused, then you become the criminal, right? Like if you plant evidence at a crime scene, that's no bueno. You might get an Uno reverse on that. And that is exactly what we've just learned over the last 48 hours Jack Smith did. He affixed classified document markings to classified documents. He reorganized where all the documents were. The documents were held at GSA and then shoved onto Trump's property. So who knows if the government actually planted the evidence there, where the classified documents were. And then we know that all the photos were staged.
Yeah.
So how does this case continue?
It shouldn't. I mean, those are really concerning facts. And what's so great about the way these cases are unfolding, now don't get me wrong, I don't believe they should have been brought in the first place, but they chose to bring these wild and crazy cases. So they're bringing them and they're unfolding in a way, as you just so eloquently pointed out, you don't have to be a lawyer to see that it's complete bunk. Anybody can look at this and go, there's something wrong with that. And so I would say the silver lining of all of the turmoil that we've all been put through over the last several years is it's so obvious that the media is having a hard time covering it up. It used to be they could kind of tweak things here and there and throw in some legalese and legal mumbo jumbo to where the public was like, okay, I don't really get it, but I guess it's fine. They can't do that anymore. It's falling apart, and anybody can see, hey, they're treating Donald Trump one way, they're treating Joe Biden, who actually did have classified documents, who actually was not authorized to have them and stored them in a very insecure area. They're treating them very differently. I'm not a lawyer, but I can see that that's not right. So I would say that's the silver lining to all of this, is it's plain as day what they're doing.
So silver linings, you're now at the RNC. We've been waiting for somebody with some brass to come into the RNC and really tighten the ship up a little bit. Where the hell were you the last couple of years, right? What are you doing with the money? Whatever. Okay, so time gone by, new leadership, Laura Trump, big time Michael Watley, Laura Trump fans around here. And the question that we have is obviously what happens in the lead up to elections and on election day to preserve the integrity of our election.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm thrilled with Chairman Watley and co-chair Laura Trump. They both care very deeply about election integrity. And certainly that's something that is really important to me and something I've been working on for the president for the last few years and reporting on it prior to working for the president. So that's great news that this is something that they are really focused on and care a lot about. The RNC has a program called Protect the Vote. You can go to protectthevote.com and sign up to be a part of it and get trained as a poll worker, observer in your area. The lead up to the election, in my calculated opinion, is that we need a lot of people involved. This is not an election where you can just vote or just donate, although we're very grateful for donations. We need people. We need people involved to work the election. If you can't get in touch with the RNC, get in touch with your state party. If your state party some are more organized than others, and we're working really hard right now to kind of beef that up to make sure that the state parties have what they need to really serve the grassroots and serve the volunteers, but get involved some way. And there's a lot of great groups outside the RNC, outside the state parties. If you feel strongly, I know some people have strong opinions about it. So there are other groups out there as well, but whatever you do, get involved. We need everybody involved. This is an all hands on deck moment.
Yeah, we work very closely with Turning Point.
Yeah, they're a great group. Yeah.
Turning Point Action is a fantastic group. They're doing an amazing job with Get Out the Vote, working closely with Scott Pressler as well. He has his own organization.
Yep.
And so it's going to be a massive team effort. And we're very, very excited about some major events coming up. There's a Turning Point Action event that's going to feature Donald Trump in Detroit in a couple of weeks. So we'll be at that one as well. So moving forward, strategy 2024.
Yep.
Well, I think we're less than 6 months. Christina, what is the strategy? What are the main key takeaways for winning this thing? It does seem like you got the wind at your back. It's crazy to say.
Yeah, no, certainly. The strategy is the American people. I mean, this is the American people's time to determine who their leaders are. And I know there's a lot of concerns about illegals registering to vote and cleaning up the voter rolls and a lot of the concerns with election integrity. If you have concerns about it, the way you help alleviate those concerns is to get involved, because the more people are involved, the more you gain the momentum yourself to realize, hey, there's a lot of us. I spent the last couple of days in Wisconsin with a bunch of the grassroots groups out there, and it's just really encouraging to see everybody on the ground. I know you work with Turning Point and see all of those groups. When you're part of a group like that, you get really excited and go, okay, we can do this. But the key, truly, the key to securing and prevailing in 2024 in November is people involved. We like to say, the left controls the media. It's a very far left media with the big megaphones and all that, but we have the people. The American people support Donald Trump. The American people support America First values. And so we need the American people involved. So please get involved. Go to protectthevote.com, go to Turning Point, go to whatever group you like, but whatever you do, get involved, because there's a place for you. We need you, whatever your skill set is, however extroverted or introverted you are, there is a place for you. So please get involved.
So that you just bring up something I have to ask a follow-up question on. Criminal illegals voting in the election. That is something that is obviously deep concern, and many people were saying that was the play in the first place with the open border. How do you counteract that? And are you focused on that at the RNC?
100%. That's one of our biggest focuses, actually, and it's hard. I'm not going to lie; it's a very challenging issue, because you want to make sure that you're protecting people who have the lawful right to vote, and you don't want to be disenfranchising anybody. But yet it's very concerning to see massive groups of people flooding across the border, and then I'm sure you've seen a lot of the undercover reporting coming out and information coming out saying that these groups are then registering these people to vote in all 50 states, in the states that they show up in. So it's very concerning. It's like peeing in a swimming pool. How do you undo it? So what I would say is we need people involved at the county level, working for the counties, the people who manage voter rolls and are responsible at the counties for ensuring that lawful votes are cast. When the mail-in ballots come in, we need to have people there making sure, following the law to make sure that those votes that are coming in are lawful votes and only lawful votes are counted. So it comes down to eyeballs. How many eyeballs can we get on in the basically the chain of custody, where we legally can have everybody? We need people involved, because yes, I genuinely believe this is their plan for 2024. And the way we stop it is by having as many people as possible in the chain of custody for the documents to make sure that it's the lawful votes that are counted.
So you genuinely believe that the plan is to have the 10 million plus illegals that have come into this country illegally vote in the election, register them to vote, and that will push Joe Biden over the line in a close election.
I think that's certainly part of their strategy. I think it's a big part of their strategy, and I think they care less about the illegals actually voting and care more about the registration. We've seen that they have a very robust, whether you want to call it ballot harvesting or ballot trafficking, depending on whether it's legal or not. We're seeing that these nonprofit organizations are stepping up to justify the residency. They are saying, yes, these illegal immigrants are staying with us, their residence is with us. So when the mail-in ballots go out, they're just getting mailed to these nonprofits because supposedly that's where these immigrants are living. So yeah, I definitely think that's part of their plan. Whether what else they're going to do, I have, God only knows, but that's certainly a large part of it. Yeah.
But you're illegal. You're illegal. You don't have a social security number. Nobody knows where you're
Illegals
from.
can get social security numbers. They can actually.
So this is the play then.
It's a large part of it. I don't know that I wouldn't say it's the only play, but it's certainly a part of it. Yes. And I'm not trying to scare anybody. We can combat this. Please don't misunderstand. We're preparing for it, but we need the American people's help. We need people to get involved, to have eyes on, to make sure that it's legal voters and legal votes that are cast, and that our votes are not being diluted by this invasion across our southern border. So I'm not trying to scare anybody. The size of the problem is big, but we absolutely can secure it, but we can't do it without the American people.
Nor am I a doomer or anything, right? We do our best to be chipper on the program,
right?
But I just don't know how an election monitor looks at somebody with a social security number who came here illegally, who has a ballot. Like, I don't know how they stop somebody who is unlawful to vote, but yet the system has allowed them to vote. Like, I don't know how that's stopped, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's going to depend on each state and the voting procedures for each state. You're not allowed, again, we're not allowed to ask the voters their citizenship, which certainly plays into allowing illegals to register. So there's a lot of challenges to it, but it's not insurmountable. But there are challenges to it. But the best solution is to make sure that as many American citizens who can legally vote and legally participate are involved in the process. I mean, that is democracy, right? I know we have a constitutional republic, but as far as democracy goes, isn't it best to have as many people involved in the process as possible to get the best result? That's what it is. And so that's what we're trying to encourage, is have as many people involved in the process as possible.
Too big to rig is my favorite campaign slogan.
I like that.
For the president. Is my favorite. I hope that he trots that out. I hope he continues that level of messaging. You have to activate people who haven't voted in the last 40 years, like and let them know. Now, yeah. I think there's enough people pissed off at Joe Biden that it really won't matter. That's what we see in the polls. But
yeah, Yeah, no, I think that's right. I genuinely think that's right. I think President Trump is going to prevail in this election. I don't even think it's going to be close. Of course, we're preparing for a very close election, but I honestly don't think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a decisive victory for Donald Trump. We should have an answer on election night. We're prepared if we don't. But if we have enough people involved, just like Virginia in 2021, they had a result on election night, even though it was so close to 2020. And I think we can do that again here. So that's the goal.
So you're ready. So you're ready with lawsuits. You're ready to like lock down these polling locations and say no more voting, no more ballot drops at 3 a.m. Like
we're prepared to have eyes on and do everything that we legally can do. Yeah, I mean, I don't have control to lock down polling locations, but certainly having eyes on and collecting the evidence. I sincerely hope we don't get to that. Yeah. I worked post 2020, and I don't want post election challenges this time around. I would much rather just win outright, and that's certainly the goal. So if we have post-election challenges, so be it. But every intention of mine is to make sure we have an outright victory and there is no post-election challenge.
Good. Okay. Well, that would be amazing.
That's the goal.
That would make for an easier night, I suppose, for us. We'll have champagne and we'll be ready to pop it. Christina, Bob, we say thank you so much for your work. I mean, obviously, it's like so great to have somebody who's willing to fight and able to fight. And please come on the show again. The audience loves you. So.
Oh, thanks, Benny. Thanks for everything you do. Your voice is so powerful, and I'm grateful for all you're doing.
All right, Godspeed. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so we have so many stories that we didn't get a chance to get to, but there is something that we're doing regularly with our program where we are allowing Donald Trump the capacity to speak. This is clip E. Eric, this is clip E. Donald Trump, we didn't get a chance to go to the president and allow him to speak. This is Trump after Stormy Daniels' testimony yesterday, again, which was a lizard lot tire fire. And you got Donald Trump saying, the case is done. It's all collapsed. It's all finished. We always want, because Trump is gagged and because Trump can't get out on the campaign trail, we feel like this is our obligation to let the president speak. Here's Trump from yesterday.
So this was a very big day, a very revealing day. As you see, their case is totally falling apart. They have nothing on books and records, and even something that should bear very little relationship to the case. It's just a disaster for the DA, for the Soros-backed DA. It's a disaster. This whole case is just a disaster. If you read the legal scholars, you'll see, because they're writing about it, they've never seen anything quite like it. And neither have I. I should be out campaigning right now. We're leading in all the polls. I'd like to be campaigning. We'll be leading by a lot more. But I just want to appreciate the job you're doing. It's not easy standing there all day waiting, but you're hearing the same things that we're hearing. On another matter, as you know, it's Biden's backers that seem to be funding what's going on with the Palestinians. They're probably not Palestinians, they're agitators, bad agitators, really bad. And I think our government ought to find out who they are, where they're from, and treat them the same way as they do the J6 hostages. You got to treat them the same way. These are agitators. They're really hurting our country. It's happening all over the country in cities. You saw what happened last night at the Metropolitan Museum. These are agitators. And in some of the colleges, I think it's about 20% student and 80% others. So this is a big problem, and they better nip it on the bud. And it's a problem from the left, not from the right. This is a problem from the left. And I hope you're going to stress that. The economy is not doing well. You see inflation is through the roof. They're not going to be able to lower interest rates. If they do, it's purely political. But it'll be very bad if they do from the standpoint of getting rid of inflation. You have to get rid of the inflation. Inflation, as you probably have heard me say, it's a country buster. It busts countries. And it has for 1,000 years. You go back and you look at old-time Germany, you look at a lot of countries that went through the kind of inflation we're going through, and they're busted. They are just broken up in many cases into little pieces, and that's what could actually happen to us. So we have to get inflation under control. We have to get prices down so that people can breathe, people can live, so they can live. But again, this was a very revealing day in court. Any honest reporter would say that. I would recommend you read Jonathan Turley and Andrew McCarthy and Alan Dershowitz, Greg Jarrett, Mark Levin, very talented people, and others. There's some incredible people out there that are writing about this trial. They're calling it a disgrace. It's a disgrace. In the meantime, I'm stuck. I'm here. Instead of being in Georgia, instead of being in New Hampshire, instead of being in Wisconsin, and all the different states that we wanted to be in, we're not able to be there because we're stuck in this trial, which everyone knows is a hoax. Thank you very much. Thank you.
It's amazing. Like, have you ever heard Joe Biden talk like this? It's like just an aside here, but we're like sitting in the studio. And we're just like, man, he's like, Trump's just like, he's just on fire. He's entertaining. He's talking about the collapse. He's like off the top of his head, rattling off all the legal experts who are sounding off on this. He's able to just go extemporaneous for 3.5 minutes. You ever seen that with Joe Biden? You ever seen Joe Biden talk for 30 seconds? It's remarkable. There is so much good energy out there right now. I got an amazing meme from one of my favorite meme makers, Drefenzer on X. I've been wanting to play this, and I thought right after the Trump clip would be a perfect time to play this. If you're a Dark Knight fan, you're going to love this. Okay, hold on. Let's play it again. Jack Smith, Washington, D.C. Okay. Okay, all right, good. Ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump walking out with the explosions behind him. Donald Trump giving his commentary at the court with his gold tie, looking sharp. Donald Trump's property are ensconced in gold, and that's because gold connotes value. There is value, ladies and gentlemen, in gold. There's dependability. actually, in crazy times. And I think times are about to get much crazier. You're Donald Trump talking about America going the way of Weimar Germany with inflation and overprinting of the money. I think this is something that's going to happen here, obviously, and you should prepare. Go to my friends at Allegiance Gold. Allegiance Gold can help you out. They can convert your 401k, they can convert your IRA, and you can save value in doing this. Obviously, it is a tumultuous time to be investing. You see that every single day. And imagine what's going to happen after the election when they don't have Joe Biden's economy to prop up. Ugh. Don't gamble with your financial future. Go to protectwithbenny.com today. Call 844-66-BENNY. Right now, get $5,000 in free silver with free qualifying purchase. Protectwithbenny.com today. We have no idea what chemical effect salt has on gold. We don't know. We're not sure. We should look it up. But we do know that there is a salty clip out there that we will play for you right now of Jen Psaki. Now, Jen Psaki is the former spokesperson for Joe Biden. Jen Psaki was on her little MSNBC show, the show that, by the way, she had already signed a contract for while she continued to be Joe Biden's spokesperson. Okay? Think about that. So she was in the White House acting as the spokesperson for Joe Biden. She'd already signed her MSNBC contract 3 months earlier. And so she's able to do those jobs simultaneously. In case you're wondering, like, what a fraudulent system we live in. We got our salt here, ladies and gentlemen. We got also our salt shaker that was made by a wonderful brigade member. Here we go. So we got dual salt. Jen Psaki was giving advice to her old boss, saying, hey, Joe, you should just stop talking. You need to stop talking. Don't do any interviews. You're old. You smell like milk of magnesia mixed with mothballs. You have applesauce dribbling down your face. And you walk like you have a diaper to change. And so there really is no reason for you to ever speak to anyone. Here, ladies and gentlemen, is our Salt That Lib of the day. Drop salt in the comment section. We'll put it up on screen. Allow us to add some extra sodium to Jen Sodium Salty Psaki. Let's go.
There's been a lot of criticism of Biden, most recently from the New York Times, that he's held the fewest interviews and press availabilities of any president since Reagan. I personally think it would help dispel some of the concerns about his age if he did more. What would your advice be to the White House in terms of his accessibility to press?
Well, I think the benefit of the media environment right now, there's a lot of challenges, but I'm going to start at the optimistic side, is that there are so many choices. And when you're communicating from the White House, I mean, respect for freedom of speech and freedom of the press is important, but you're also really just trying to communicate with the American people.
Right.
So my view is he should come on The View before he does a press conference.
Because he should, because people want to have real conversations.
First time I'll ever say this. Joe Biden, you should listen to your really smart advisor, Jen Psaki. You should totally go on The View. We'd love that. That would be hilarious. Do it. Do it live. Let's go. We've seen what it looks like when Joe Biden goes on late night TV. We have clips of Jimmy Kimmel literally needing to cut off Joe Biden. Joe Biden having senior moments, spiraling, and Jimmy Kimmel cuts him off and is like, let's go to a commercial break. Okay, gotta get out of here. Do it. Just do it. Kamala Harris on Drew Barrymore's show, right? Creepy, cringy little show. Do it, you frauds. And then, by the way, make The View bring Donald Trump on. Their studio's in New York. Bring on Donald Trump. Come on. Oh, we're here for it, ladies and gentlemen, and we are here for you. Are you here for us? Well, if you appreciate our programming, please make sure that you sign up for the Benny Brigade at BennyJohnson.com. You can go and sign up for the Benny Brigade, and you can support our programming. You get special access to our guests, Ask Questions, the Ask Benny Anything Friday, along with a ton of other awesome perks. We will mail you. Every new Brigade member gets the official Brigade keychain mailed directly to them. And most importantly, you support what we do here, and we really deeply, profoundly appreciate that. Costs less than a McDonald's French fry per month, and well, free speech is priceless. And the McDonald's French fries have a lot of salt on them, so we also like salt. So there you go. I'm not telling you to go eat French fries. I am going to tell you the truth, though, right now at our verse of the day. We say a lot on this program, but we ensure that we always speak the truth for our verse of the day from Psalms. The Lord is with me. I will not be afraid. What mere mortals can do to me? What can they do? If the Lord is with me, I will not be afraid. Christina Bob said, hey, maybe what's happening here is providential. We don't know. But we know this. You can fear not. In fact, you're commanded to fear not. 365 times in the Bible, it says fear not. So make sure that you tighten up, right? Don't fear. Don't be fearful, ladies and gentlemen. Keep your head held high and keep your chest upright. Stand upright and march on. March on with us. It's your boy Benny. We're on to victory. We'll see ya.